Okay, we're on the back of the notes, and this time we're going to have a fourth power, because remember, imaginary numbers always come in pairs, so you have to remember that because we have a positive 5i, that means that one of our zeros is also a negative 5i. Alright, so we're thinking x is negative 4, x is 2, x is 5i, and x is negative 5i. And so we're going to put this into factored form first. So we're going to have y is equal to x plus 4 would give us the x is negative 4, 0. There we go. And we would have x minus 2 and x minus 5i and x plus 5i. Okay, so that's the factored form of our polynomial. All right, now we have to multiply, and just like always, you can only multiply 2 terms at a time. And so we're going to multiply the first 2 together and then the imaginary 2 together. So starting with the x plus 4 and the x minus 2, we're going to distribute the x to both terms and the 4 to both terms. So x times x and x times negative 2. X times x is x squared. Then you have a negative 2x. Then 4 times x is a positive 4x. And 4 times a negative 2 is a negative 8. And combining like terms, we have x squared plus 2x minus 8. All right, and that is the first of the 2 factors that we need to multiply together. Then we also need to multiply the second set of factors together. And so if we multiply the x minus 5i with the x plus 5i, the middle term should cancel out because we're using the sum and difference pattern, and that always happens with your imaginary numbers. So x times x is x squared. X times a positive 5i is a positive 5ix. And then you have a negative 5ix. And then a negative 5i times a positive 5i is a negative 25i squared. And again, the middle terms do cancel. And so we're left with x squared minus 25 times I squared. But remember, I squared is a negative 1. And so this is really just x squared plus 25. And we're going to bring down the x squared plus 2x minus 8. All right, and now we have a quadratic times a quadratic, which is going to give us our fourth power. We're going to take x squared times both, 2x times both, and negative 8 times both. So the x squared times the x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times 25 is 25 x squared. Now the 2x times x squared is 2x cubed. And the 2x times 25 is 50x. And last of all, the negative 8 times x squared is negative 8x squared. And the negative 8 times the positive 25 is negative 200. And so combining like terms and putting this into the right order, we have y is equal to x to the 4th goes first, 2x to the 3rd goes second. We want our exponents in decreasing order. And then we have 25x squared and negative 8x squared. So 25 take away 8 is going to give you a 17x squared. Let's see, we've got our square terms. We have a positive 50x and a negative 200. All right. So that is number 2. And number 3 here, we have 13 and 5 plus 10i. Now, the imaginary numbers that come in pairs even if there's a real part and imaginary part combined. So we have 5 plus 10i, and that means we're also going to have x is equal to 5 minus 10i, and x is 13. Alright, so from here, we're going to write this in factored form. So y is equal to x minus 13. And remember, it's always x minus the 0. And so we're going to have here a big bracket, and x minus, and my 0 is 5 plus 10i. And then another big bracket, and x minus, and then my second 0 is 5 minus 10i. So this is the setup when your imaginary numbers have a real part, like the 5, and an imaginary part like the 10i. So we're going to end up with a cubic, and I'm going to start with the big brackets with the imaginary numbers. We have bracket x minus, now we're distributing this negative like it's a negative 1. So negative 1 times 5, that's minus 5. Negative 1 times 10i will be minus 10i. And we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to have x minus, and we'll have 5, and then a negative negative makes this plus 10i. And we're going to bring down the x minus 13 at the very beginning. Alright, so all we've done so far is set this up and distribute the negative through. And now we multiply. And we're going to take this trinomial times this trinomial, the two imaginary pieces. We'll multiply the x to all three terms, the negative 5 to all three terms, and the negative 10i to all three terms. So starting with x times x, that's x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. X times 10i is 10ix. We're done with the x. On to the negative 5. We have negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. And negative 5 times 10i is negative 50i. Alright, now we're on to the negative 10i. So negative 10i times x is negative 10ix. Negative 10i times negative 5 is a positive 50i. And negative 10i times positive 10i is negative 100i squared. I'm hoping that pink pen shows up enough that you can see it. I'll stop using that one. Alright, so we're going to bring this all down along with the x minus 13. And I am hoping that we will either have like terms or we'll have some things cancel out because this looks like a mess right now. So we have x squared, and that's the only squared term besides I squared. We have negative 5x, negative 5x, and that is it for just x's, so that's negative 10x. And then we have plus 10ix and minus 10ix. Those will cancel. Let's see here. We have a negative 50i and a positive 50i. Those will cancel. And then we have plus 25 minus 100i squared. But remember, I squared is a negative 1. And so this is really negative 100 times negative 1, or really plus 100. So we have x minus 13 times x squared minus 10x. And if this is a positive 100 plus 25, that'll give us 125, which is much easier to look at than what I had on my last line. Alright, so we need to multiply one more time. This is tedious. We have x times all three and negative 13 times all three, and then we are done. So x times x squared gives you x cubed. X times a negative 10x is a negative 10x squared. X times 125 is 125x. And now on to the negative 13, we have negative 13 times x squared, which is negative 13x squared. Negative 13 times negative 10x is positive 130x. And last of all, negative 13 times 125 is negative 1,625. And so combining our like terms, we have y equals x cubed minus 23x squared plus 155x minus 1,625. That's a lot of work. Alright, one more like that and then we are done. So we have 2 plus 3i, so that means we're also going to have 2 minus 3i. So in factored form we have y equals the big bracket x minus in parentheses 2 plus 3i. Close your big bracket again, x minus in parentheses 2 minus 3i. Close your big bracket, and the x minus 1 for just x is 1. So there's our setup. We distribute the negative through. So we have x minus 2 minus 3i. And we have x minus 2 plus 3i. And we can bring down x minus 1. And here's the big multiplying step. So x times all three, negative 2 times all three, and negative 3i times all three. Take your time here so you don't make a mistake. X times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. And x times 3i is positive 3ix. Now on to the negative 2. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And negative 2 times 3i is negative 6i. And then last of all, negative 3i times x is negative 3ix. Negative 3i times negative 2 is positive 6i. And negative 3i times positive 3i is negative 9i squared. And again, at this point, we want to combine like terms and cancel out terms that will cancel out. So I have my x squared. I have negative 2x and negative 2x. That's negative 4x. 3ix and negative 3ix cancel out. And negative 6i and positive 6i cancel out. And so I'm left with plus 4. And then minus 9 times a negative 1. And again, I squared is a negative 1. So that's really plus 9 and plus 4. So we have x squared minus 4x. And if this is really positive 9, 9 plus 4 will give you plus 13 times x minus 1. And now we are just about done, which is good because I am running out of paper. Oop. Just bumped the document camera. Okay, so x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times a negative 1 is a negative 1x squared. We're done with the x squared. Negative 4x times x is negative 4x squared. Negative 4x times a negative 1 is positive 4x. And then the 13 times x gives you 13x. And 13 times a negative 1 is a negative 13. So combining like terms, our final answer is y equals, and we have x cubed minus 5x squared plus, 17x minus 13. There we go.